morning, the Mastermind call with the Dream Makers Network. Very, very excited to be able to host this call again this first Saturday in November. We're officially, I would say, in holiday season, and it's just truly a blessing to go from month to month and have these opportunities to separate ourselves from all the other things that we've been doing. Just take a second to kind of uh, you know create a pause, if you will, an interruption from all your day to day, your work grind, family life, things you're doing in the community, just to take a second and focus on personal development, to focus on you, to take that time to say, okay, this has been an active month. This has been a busy week. Yesterday was a wild day, you know, but let me take some inventory as to what's been going on and where am I in terms of my personal and unique goals, the things that truly matter to you, the things that you've been working on, all the objectives that are uh, truly top of mind for you and your family, things that you really want to accomplish. And you may be on that road, you may be very active in it at this point. But we want to make sure that as we are kind of evaluating where we are, that we're having the conversation and not forgetting that personal development plays a big role in your day to day objective to identify where you are relative to where you want to be. And it's also important to highlight where you've come from, so you can really take stock of the full, you know, journey, if you will, what you were working on before that led you to where you are today and where you are hoping to land, over the next month or the next year, or as you're preparing and to go into a new year, to be able to ask those questions and then feel good about how you came up with that. Because a lot of times we have those things that we're working on, goals that we're trying to accomplish, and we may forget, like, why are we even pursuing that? So, how do we even land here? How did this become the objective that I'm spending a lot of my time and thoughts on? It's really a good thing to talk that through with yourself. And even in this call, to be able to communicate that, just so you realize that you are still on the right road. So you could be on a road, but are you on the right road toward accomplishing the goals that you have and really being excited about those goals? If it's kind of a lackluster, I'm here, I'm working on something, rah rah, but you're not really fired up. That's something that is worth talking through. And really, because the main point is, we have this life, and we want to make sure that we are intentional, on purpose, and the things that we're working on are uniquely lined up with our spirit and the true reasons why we're here in this life. And so I'm just thankful to have each of you on. For all of you who are connecting with us online, and we'll see this later, we appreciate you. We appreciate your time, and being able to take a second, and do a little self inventory, and connect in the spirit of personal development, which really, I think it's also, when we started doing this call, over 12 years ago, it was, just an opportunity to say we had goals. There was an objective that we knew we were trying to accomplish. We knew we were headed in a certain direction, but it was almost like you don't know what you don't know. And I'm thankful for that day, when myself and brother Dwayne Mitchell and Paz Morris, and we just came together without I would say fear, to communicate what was on our mind at the time, we saw what was going on. Newly married, trying to raise a family, trying to grow in career, but we also recognize that there were some inner things going on within each of us that we wanted to pursue. And that was the beginning. And I think it's important to highlight that, because the beginning could be today for each of us, regardless of what the challenges are. The beginning could be right now. And once that's clear, once that's on your mind, what's the next step? What book are you opening? What video or YouTube are you going to access? Who are you going to call to begin the process of creating a mastermind of like-minded people, where 2 or 3 people come together in the spirit of harmony, that the collective mind, the collective energy will take you there, will give you the information, give you the spirit that may not have had on your own. And that's a big part of why we do this, is to create the mastermind in a way that could potentially add value to everybody who's on the call, to everyone who's intentionally participating in this process. And we have so many examples over the years, over these 12 years, of how this type of call, this type of network help to not only give you a much more clear clear viewpoint as to what you're working on, but for the folks who really took it seriously, the ones who said, what, why not today? Why not today become everything that I want? And for the folks who took it seriously, it was a game changer in their life. And I'm just thankful for these opportunities to continue that spirit, to continue the opportunity of creation, to create something that should exist, but it has not come to life yet. It can start today. All it takes is the decision and the willingness to move forward. And so thankful so much having you guys on the call, on the line with us today. And we look forward to hearing from you on today's call. Well, this time of year is so interesting because we get closer and closer to the end of the year, and we get closer to a new year. And it always does give you an opportunity to, again, take stock, take inventory of the things that you've been working on, and where are you in your development, in your process of creation. We've had our 90-day goal setting challenge over the summer. In many cases, that was just that nice kick that you needed to get something going to the place where now we're 2 or 3 months removed from that, and we're able to kind of see where we are, to see if something is growing, to see if something is really playing an active role, and you're able to find yourself day to day in the middle of the creation and development process. Something that you've had on your mind for a while, something that is a growth opportunity within a current activity or business or initiative. These are things that I think when we think about this life, it's so important to find ourselves involved in creating. Now, I always love to see people who you can tell that they're in creation mode. You can tell that they are always in development. The energy that comes off. Even when you watch people who are, maybe engineers or farmers or people who are thinking through a process to say, okay, now we're starting this right now because of, and then we're going to put the next piece together. And when that happens, then we'll go to the next piece. And just to see the creativity that happens when we're starting something and building something and constructing something. And I want to make sure that in some way, form, or fashion, that we are intentional about things like that we are currently or ongoing in the process of creating something that adds true value to your personal goals, and that would ultimately add value to somebody else. And so, it's one of those opportunities for us to take a look at, not only have we become kind of lackadaisical, or are we just kind of coasting by, and maybe just kind of relax in the comfort zone, or have we decided that this is something worth my time? This is something worth me taking a deeper dive into. This is something that my spirit is calling for. And I want to make sure that we're listening to ourselves and measuring that. And so I want to take some time this morning to kind of open up the call, see where we are, what's been working, what hasn't worked, any success stories in your process as you're developing, wanting to make sure that, number one, that we hadn't taken our eye off the ball. And if we have, what has taken us off the ball? What has, I don't want to use the word distracted, but distracted. What, because when we prioritize our goals, when we prioritize those things that truly matter to us, then anything that gets in the way of that development is, I would say, a distraction. Now, that it could be somebody very important to you. It could be a family member. It could be work, or whatever the case may be. But even though all of those things are important, it's important for us to prioritize your spirit, your personal development, the things that matter to you. And so let's talk through that. Where are you in that process? The good, the bad, I'm just starting. Let's take a second to open up the call now. If anybody would like to share and highlight where you are in the process and what's been going on, we'll take a second to open up the call now.
Good morning, Dwayne Mitchell here.
Brother Mitchell, it's lead off hitter.
Process, with the strands of, I'll make this one short because everybody knows I get on that soapbox today. Keep it, but I still bring the energy and love. Actually, we're crossing over to different markets. So I'm crossing over from powerlifting gyms to CrossFit, and that crossover to long distance running and pickleball.
Oh, interesting. Those are good. Listen, now you're in a really good market.
Yeah. So the pickleball and long distance running came out of nowhere. I was down in Lewis Beach, in the Rehoboth Dewey Beach area, and I had to pick up a pair of running shoes. I wanted to start running again. So I went to a small little store that everyone goes to down there. I think it's called Rehoboth Running, something like that. Anyway, so I had a dog with me, so went in with the dog and just chilling and trying different shoes. And I heard a conversation going on the other side, and picked up a pair of shoes. I was about to pay for it, and I was like, "Shoes!" And I heard somebody say they had, hip and joint pain. Like, yeah. So I gave my 30-second speech, and I was talking to the owner of the store, and I sold 3 units. Boom, boom, boom.
Wow.
Right? Like that. And then I asked them if they have any events or anything. They were like, "Yeah, actually, we're hosting the marathon, the Rehoboth Marathon." Which I'm like, perfect. I was like, I looked up at the vendors. Like, okay, well, I'll see if we have space for you. I showed them a picture of my setup, and they were like, "Wow, that looks good. Thank you." It looked perfect. So, long story short, tentative date was that, and then I gave a bottle out to a friend of mine, most of acquaintance, and he plays pickleball. Because my heels been bothering me. I tried this, tried that. Like, well, you probably need our soul power, is what you need. So get a lot of that.
Soul power.
Put it on. He's like, he's like, oh, he's like, could I get it wholesale so I can sell it to people, to the men and women I play with? I'm like, absolutely. I'm like, maybe I need to look into that market. So one thing that I'm learning now, teaching myself, is the advertising piece of the business.
Okay.
I'm learning how to advertise on social media. I'm learning how to advertise in general, place ads. And then promotions, and then the sales. I think I pretty much have the sales part down pat. Well, not down pat. I can always improve the sales, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the advertising marketing strategy is what I need to work on. So that's my goal for the next stages of this venture is to understand the marketing piece, right? The marketing, just to understand the marketing strategy, advertising, promotional, public relations, and sales. So that's something I'm looking forward to for the next leg and going into the new year. I'm not gonna wait for the new year. I'm started this weekend. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna wait. So that's the awesome thing that's going on.
Love it.
I'm holding my weight. I still want to drop 20 more pounds, but I'm holding steady. So that means change up some things. I need to change up a few things, probably my diet and my workout. That's why I went to running shoes, because I want to pick up cardio a little bit. I know I'm going to lose some of the muscle mass and strength that I've gained, but that's okay, because I can drop the LBs that I can read. I can go back to another program where I can get the muscle back. So I'm making changes. I'm definitely adapting, and then setting new goals, and moving the bar higher and higher. So that's what I got going on.
So definitely, when you're talking about like pickleball and just some of the cross country long distance run, like when you think about trying to get into those new markets, what are some of the next steps there that you're doing? In addition to some of the new folks you've met in that space.
Well, that's funny you said that. That's what I want to figure out this weekend, because I just thought about this. I mean, this really came to fruition this week, this week, and the game Wednesday night, Thursday. So here it is, Saturday morning. I'm like, all right, well, of course, I have my job, that pays, that currently pays my bills and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, we just did a merger with Fab and learned a new system, and a lot of frustration stuff going on with that. And so I work like 8 to 10 hours a day building someone else's dream. And I'm like, all right, well, okay. Yeah, so now it's time for me to really focus on my dream, on what I want to do. So it just came to fruition, like I said, the last 48 hours.
Wow.
So I have no idea what I'm going to do, no idea how I'm going to start, no idea what I'm going to look to. I want to grab some new books, some new audibles. One thing that I did grab, I'm going to share with everybody on the call here, but just so I can find it real fast. I picked up this one here, and it was one audible, and it actually was written by a sister. It was pretty awesome. She was a teacher, and now she's got into social media branding and marketing. So the audible is called Skyrocket Your Business. Social media. Skyrocket Your Business. Social media branding. Okay. I think it's about 5 hours of audible.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Definitely check out the demo, the preview, as they call it, I guess. And so yes, I got that one. I'm halfway through that. First, I was like, man, this is not what I wanted, because this is not what they're talking about. But it was just telling her background, her story, which I was like, okay, so set it up. So I'm getting into that one now. And then the other one I just heard this morning. I've been up since 2:30. I don't sleep early, and I'm just like, yeah, it's just one of those things, brother. Hold on 1 second. Sorry, I'm going off track here, but give me a second here. Where's that? And there's another one that's called, I haven't picked it up yet. It's called Ego is the Enemy.
That's a good one to put on there.
Yeah, Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday. And preview that one was just like, hey, if you set aside your ego, that's what's stopping you to get into the next steps and level. He was like, your ego is preventing you from being completely successful. But there was one thing I didn't like about it so much that kind of threw me back, but I didn't purchase it yet. I'm still listening to the preview of it. Because one gentleman said, hey, listen, if you want to be successful, you have to use people to get what you want. And I didn't like that.
The word use.
I didn't. I didn't. That didn't resonate with me well at all. I was like, man, I'm not trying to use people. That's just not me. But then I sat back and I thought about what he meant. I think he was trying to say was, hey, you know what? Find that champion, find that coach. Like I said months ago, remember back in I think it was June of last year, I was saying, but hey, get a coach. We all need a mentor.
Yeah.
So I'm with that word of, hey, find a mentor to get what you need. Find a coach to get what you need. So I didn't like that statement.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you said that though, because it's two things on that. Especially when we talk about using people, but again, that word could definitely come off wrong. But when you're building something, the way I see it is two ways. One, to your point of finding a mentor who's willing to, or two things: either they're willing to invest in you, or you're willing to access their information somehow, some way. And the other part to that is, when I hear the word using people, I look at it as, how do you duplicate yourself? How do you build a team? How do you attract people to the things that you're doing? And, treat them well when they get there, but nonetheless, there's only so much we can do alone, on our own. We can make good progress, but if we really attract other people to what we're doing, then we can scale, so I like that. I think it's important for us to communicate that, to know that that's part of the process, that's only so we can only go so far on our own.
Yeah. You just hit the head, and thank you, sir. Oh my God, my brother, you just turned the light bulb on for me with that saying, because later on he said, I'm running multiple businesses because I set up a process and procedure.
There you go.
And then the second was, well, how are you running all these businesses on your own? He goes, no. He goes, I have people in place to run my process and procedures, which my processes are the same for every single business that I have.
Yep.
So all they have to do now is put people that I trust in place, and they run those processes and procedures, and I just make sure make sure things roll well.
Yeah. I mean, that's the key. It's definitely the key to business. We have these conversations, just with folks on the business side, and in some cases, this is so interesting, because in some cases, you could be meeting with someone who started a business, some years ago, and they're making more money now than ever made before. So in many ways, it's hard in many ways, you almost become uncoachable, because you say, what are you doing? Look at my cars outside. Look at my house. Look at all these things that I have, and you're trying to coach me on something. But the point to that is, when you're doing, hats off to yourself, you were able to create this on your own. But imagine what you could do if you're able to duplicate yourself. Imagine what you could do if others were in this organization just as fired up about this company as you are, and they are doing this work, and you are just kind of checking the numbers. Oh, this is great. You're on some beach somewhere, or spending time, with your kids, like doing things that are more quality versus, I got a lot of money, but I have a lot of things, but I don't have time. And of success, because it's always, you meet one person who think they got it all figured out. It's like, let me introduce you to this sister over here. Let me introduce you to this brother. Because there are levels, and at the end of the day, it does come back to, what are we trying to accomplish? And for some people, and actually, and there are some folks who will say to you, what I'm doing right now is beyond my wildest dreams. Like I had big goals, and I'm at a point now where I don't even know how to dream beyond this. And that's a great time for someone to have what you're talking about, Dwayne, just to have a mentor, someone who can say, you you know, the student was ready, so now the mentor appears, the teacher appears. You've gotten to this place. I know there's nothing in your brain that will help you create what's next. So let me help you. Let me show you the next level, because you can't. There's no experiences that you've gone through. No one in your family has ever done it. You haven't read about it. So I need to educate you on something, And so that's why those mentors and having access to people who have done and doing what you're trying to accomplish is so valuable. And just know that that's part of the process too. So but it's I think at some point, until I like the fact that you were highlighting when you were in Lewis, and just willing to communicate what you're doing to to anybody, if you will, but definitely somebody who you believe you can add value to what's going on with them, because that willingness is the key. That's the gateway to everything else. There's just a whole lot of people who aren't willing. I mean, they want to do it, you know what I'm saying? Like in their mind, like, oh man, I really want this. But when it's time to actually do something, they're not willing, and for whatever reason, And so there is, for folks who have said, I want it and I'm willing and I'm doing it, I'm measuring how I feel and what happened. That was partly why I asked you the question about on the pickleball side and being able to cultivate that market. Because, as soon as you said it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's, there's a lot of folks who are, past their prime, but they still have the energy, right? They still want to be active. But that comes with pain. That comes with soreness. That comes with all of that. So that is your prime market, I would think. At least it needs to be one of your key markets. Just where do they go? Where are they playing pickleball in Philadelphia? Like that's worth getting excited about and being a part of that world. Yeah, man. So this is a good example, and part of the reason why I'm kind of fired up about what you're saying is, as I was thinking this week about our call, what's to focus on the growth mindset. And I've been reading books all week about the growth mindset, in preparation for this conversation. And it's all like, so if you could get a bird's eye view into my brain right now, it's like, it's just exciting to, number one, hear people in their rhythm, doing it. But number two, to associate what you're doing as a growth activity. It's not just kind of this is a coast activity or to stay operational activity. This is a growth activity. And knowing the difference between the two, you do the things to stay operational. You think about people who, you have a house, you have your bills, you're paying your bills, you're staying operational. But growth is, what did I do today to increase my budget? What did I do today that brings in more money than I normally do every week? What did I do today to cut my expenses that will increase my margins on what my budget, So just being able to really get involved and pursue growth all the time, and making that part of your thought process, that part creates excitement, and it should, because sometimes people say, no, it doesn't create excitement, it creates, stress. It's like, well, that's a good observation, right? If you're pursuing growth but you're getting stressed out, that's telling me something else. It's really telling me that whatever it is that you are pursuing probably, or may not, it probably shouldn't be an active prioritized thing. It needs to be something that is truly part of your desires, your goals. And even for this, and even some people may say, well, listen, I am doing the thing that I love most, but I'm stressed out because I'm afraid that I may not accomplish it, or I'm afraid, and it goes back to some of the conversations that me and Maddie have, about, in her dancing and trying new techniques and things that are much more technical and difficult and shows and things like that, and saying, I'm afraid. I said, well, that's one way to think about it. The other way is just recognize that whatever it is that you're feeling is energy. It is pure energy, and you can decide what you want to do with that energy. You can stay fearful and, start worrying, and next thing you know, you doubt yourself, and yeah, you're in the tornado of fear, worry, and doubt. Or you can take that same energy that may feel like fear and shift it into excitement, into, wow, like I'm so gonna do well on this. Like, this is gonna be the best performance I've ever had. This is gonna be the time. I feel the energy. Let me use that energy to master this next scene and master this next technique. So it just takes a certain flick, of the mindset to use the energy for the thing that you want. And so, we have to, if we're going to pursue growth and make growth a part of, kind of our day to day, this is the time to start checking our thinking. How are we thinking and how is it making us feel? So this is good, man. This is good. I appreciate you kind of kicking us off on this topic. I didn't highlight that this was the growth conversation, but listening to your activities and what you're doing, that's where we are. So appreciate you, brother, as always. And make sure you give everybody a quick update on Soul.
Yeah, definitely, no doubt. So check it out at sol.md. We have our 3 products there. One is the muscle and joint relief gel, which is a roll-on. It's all plant-based. Main ingredients is arnica, which is anti-inflammatory, antioxidants, capsaicin, which comes from the chili pepper, which is good for your nerves and joints, aloe, good for the skin, turmeric, and hemp oil as well. And then we have our cream, which is called Freeze. That's more menthol with aloe and arnica in it. And then we have our massage oil, which is fantastic.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that massage oil with the hemp oil in there, and then the I think it's turmeric and also cinnamon we put in there as well. And that one there, on a side note, I went on Friday to get my running shoes. There was a race on Saturday, and I supported some people down there in the race. I wasn't going to run it, but I did. I didn't sign up for it, and I was signed up late, but I did squats and legs the day before. I'm like, I'm going to give it a rest. The long story short, I was sitting there by the start-finish line. This young lady, or not young lady, this mature lady, came up next to me. She struck a conversation. Next thing you know, she went by 4 units from me the following day.
There we go.
And then her daughter, believe it or not, her daughter and her daughter's best friend, they live in, I think, Charlotte, North Carolina, and they are sales reps for spas, global spas. And she's like, my daughter loves products. She loves trying new products. So she bought these units, to roll on and to massage roll to give to her daughter as a Christmas gift. But then when I was telling her what I'm doing, she was like, are you looking for sales reps? My daughter, she sells from global spas. She's in the spa industry. So, hopefully that would take off as well. But yeah. So it's just one of those things, we had a great conversation, and she's originally from Cherry Hill. She moved down to the beach, and she lost her husband a couple of years back. She's down there by herself, but she's just enjoying life. She's enjoying life with her friends now. But so I can say that I'm blessed because I woke up this morning, still have a job, and I'm still starting the business. My daughter's
Okay.
Today, actually, the class, and we start her new AAU volleyball team, which starts next weekend. She went to Princeton. And a little side note, I love everything this coach is saying. We are so on the same. We are so in line with everything. Real fast, she talked about student athletes. You're a student first and athlete. Don't come to me and say you have to miss a practice because you have a big test tomorrow.
Yeah.
No, don't go out Saturday night. You study Friday, Saturday night, and you prepare for that test all week so you can be here for practice and you can do well on that exam. He goes, parents, don't come to me or the coaches saying my kid didn't get playing time. This is when your daughter needs to step up and learn how to be an independent woman where she can talk to adults, she can communicate to adults, and what's going to make a better person, how she deals with adversity in life.
Mm-hmm.
So with mom and dad, forever. I was like, wow. Then he goes, we go as a team. We have a practice jersey, we have a team jersey, and we have uniforms that we wear when we travel. So we all look alike. We all professional, and they know who we are when we step off the plane. I'm okay,
love it.
Like when I'm here, I'm loving it. Yeah. So that kind of got me pumped up, and then. So roundabout story, you know me, I get on the soapbox, so I'm gonna step off. But I appreciate everyone for the support of Mr. Charles Battle. I know he was injured not too long ago, a couple weeks back, and he placed an order for 2 bottles of the feed. I got that shipped out to him. I really appreciate that, Mr. Charles.
Nice.
And Dr. Jones, I know she ordered some things a while back, so I really appreciate that as well. So definitely appreciate the support from the Mastermind family. Definitely appreciate it.
Yeah. It's time for us to re-up as well, man. I absolutely. I have my travel bag. I have the massage oil and the travel bag. There's something about the massage oil that, and I don't know if this is recommended or not, but this is what I do. I actually use a little bit, kind of in my T-spot area, in the dry areas of my face, and and the thing about doing that, there's whatever the aromas are, in the massage oil, it definitely kind of lifts my spirits, if you would. It's something about the smell, and so I do it twice a day, just to get that aroma to kind of open up my thoughts and open up my mindset. I do right before when I wake up and before I go to bed. So
okay.
So yeah, just one little thing that has worked for me and that I enjoy. So I keep a couple bottles fresh, for travel and for just day to day. So, not sure if anybody's.
Right, look, thanks for sharing. It's interesting you say that because the lady that I met last weekend who bought some of she didn't open it, but I gave her a sample that I had, and when she rubbed it on her hands, she did that. She lit up like it was Christmas. She was like, "Oh my gosh, that smells great." She was, "That's so awesome. This is amazing." I'm like, "Well, thank you." And she was joking. She was like, "Oh my God, you just might be my new drug dealer." I looked at her. These products are good for you. Actually, I need more bottles, by the end of the month. I'm like, you have my contact information. Just let me know.
It's auto ship. Put them on auto ship, man. There you go. Auto ship.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say auto ship because that's how I keep getting caught up on these memberships. I have to come back and at least erase them, but it takes me a while. So sometimes if you get that auto ship going, you might get some orders that end up staying much longer because they just forget to cancel them. And then you of course have the people them come that often. So it goes both ways. But I've definitely been telling people about it and sharing. And see, I sent my orders in for other people. I need to send one in for myself. I need some massage oil apparently. So I haven't tried it. I just bought it for somebody else, but I haven't had my hands on it myself. So thank you for that aromatherapy situation. I'm here for that all the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm doing, man. I'm jumping on auto ship. So yeah, because that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the move. All right.
So you're thinking like every 30 days or every 6 weeks? Like 6 weeks, right?
I don't know.
Because I don't want to get.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's a good point. 30 days. I won't run through it in 30 days, but definitely 6.
6 weeks you might.
Yeah. 6 weeks. Yeah, no, that's definitely 6 weeks. And it'd be good for marketing too, because if I do have, if I get to the place where I'm not running through them as fast, then I can, give it to somebody else.
Right.
So that'll spark, kind of that marketing side as well. So.
Excuse me. So what I do is I'll update our website to have a little checkbox for auto ship. That's what I do. And then you know what I can do? Thank you. You know what? You guys are amazing. That's what I love about you guys. So maybe we can do a auto ship, and then I can have a little drop down button that says 30, 60, 90 days.
There you go. You go.
Like when do you want?
Someone could easily figure out what makes most sense for them.
Right.
Similar to what Tysana was saying, I found myself in. I don't even know how I signed up for this thing, but I think I got like Rise, the mushroom coffee. And I was like, let me try that. I think I heard somebody talking about it. So let me try this out. And I got one in the mail, and the next thing you know, it came again, and like another, like every 30 days or whatever. And I'm like, wait a second, am I on some type of auto ship? Like, do I need to opt out of this? Because I did not. I thought this was like a promotional. So I had to dig and find and call the people like, hey, please, like, take me off of this. And they tried to sell me in for another, well, maybe 90 days works for you. I was like, no, like, get me off this stuff. I'm not even drinking this stuff. Like, this is just a tester. So, but with that, auto ship works. and again, if they want to opt out, it creates another touch point, another sales opportunity for a different frequency or whatever. But I think you definitely should do that.
And then I just got a note from Dr. Jones. It's very interesting that she sent me a text because I was at a CrossFit gym, a CrossFit event 2 Saturdays ago, and it was a guy, it was a married couple, and his wife, she was the CrossFit athlete, and he was just supporting her. And he goes, my knees, this and that. And I was like, oh, well, I got the best product for you. And we started talking. He's like, no. Then I gave him a sample. He goes, if I like it, whatever. I was like, you'll be back in 8 minutes, but I'll give you 50. He came back in 10 minutes, and I looked at my watch. I was like, look, I was timing you. And he just looked surprised. I was like, I knew you'd be back. And he goes, wow. So he bought the massage oil and the roll-on. And he goes, do you have like a special, kit with all 3, special price? I'm like, actually, I don't, but I will. I'll put that together, and then I'll bake it so it'll be cost effective. So I've been thinking about that, and thanks again, Dr. Jones, for reminding me that I do need to put that on the site where I can do all 3 at a special price. So, and this is part of the marketing, advertising, promotion, sales, and public relations that I need to do, and I will do. So, thank you again.
We're on your marketing committee. This is the marketing committee. We're talking through kind of, hey, this is what's happening, pros and cons, the whole 9. So actually, I've been reading a couple of books, and this one particular book I want to share with you guys is a book called The 25 Biblical Laws of Success. Let's see here. Show it on the 25 Biblical Laws of Success. And the first chapter on this is the law of opportunity. And so I was just thinking about, when we think about growth mindset and trying to kind of go from where you are to what you want. And a lot of times, especially for folks who are, used to gaining their information from scriptures, it's really valuable when you can pull out things that are biblical and kind of examples throughout the scriptures that still line up with what you're trying to do today, like in your current day-to-day, in your day-to-day life. And especially when we talk about laws, because in our, for this network, we've talked about spiritual and universal law from the beginning, but it's not something that's taught effectively, I would say, in school, right? So for a lot of folks, when you start talking about universal law and spiritual law, it's sometimes the first time they've heard it. And, and you know how it is. If I've never heard of it, it doesn't exist, kind of thing, right? And so it's not, where are you getting this information from, or whatever the case. But there are laws happening nonstop, regardless if you know it or not. And many of us we're using law, not knowing that we're using it. But there are also laws that are available to us that we could use on purpose, intentionally, to gain and really access the things that you're pursuing. But just want to read a little bit of this just to kind of help highlight the conversation that we're having here under the law of opportunity. And it actually comes from this scripture on Matthew, the 5th chapter, the 44th verse, it says, "Your Father in heaven causes his sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous." And it goes on to say that the law of opportunity says that everyone at some point in his or her life will have an opportunity to get ahead in life. And I wanted to just point that out, because we all have different circumstances. We all come from different backgrounds. We go through different challenges. And sometimes we see people, quote unquote, winning, from one respect. And you may say, wow, like what are they doing that I'm not doing? Why are they getting these opportunities and I'm not getting the opportunities? And it's this particular law and scripture really helps to identify the fact that it doesn't matter what situation we're in. Opportunity is always around us. The question is, are we paying attention? Are we prepared? Are we ready to act on opportunity? And that goes back to our conversation, Dwayne, when you heard them talk about, some aches and pains, pickleball, and it hit your spirit. This is an opportunity. What am I going to do about it? Am I going to just listen to this and get in my car and drive off and man, I should have said something to them. I should have, or you do what you did. And I think I want to just kind of simplify this, like really simplify it, because as I was reading it, it just, I don't know, maybe I just have a lot of conversations with people who are saying, who can quickly try to defend themselves for not doing something, for not acting on, or maybe not even that. Maybe I'm giving too much credit. I have a lot of conversations with folks who will say the opportunities aren't coming, or nothing's happening for me in terms of that. Like, or I wouldn't be the one they want to do business with, or, just a lot of these roadblocks or these little mental things that are getting in the way. And it's just so important for us to recognize that we're bombarded with opportunity, and sometimes we don't even know it. What we do know is that we're also bombarded with, things that are making us, I would say distractions, things that are making us think about other stuff and get in the way of this, or interruptions from our current flow. So we're definitely bombarded with that too. But this is a term that a lot of people, or I should say, especially in politics, see as a derogatory term, but never let a crisis go to waste. When a crisis happens, it's a crisis. So somebody's got to do something. It's a good example in in the financial markets. You're looking for these opportunities to buy a really good company stock on a discount. But how often do they have discounted stocks? Usually when a crisis is happening is when McDonald's right now, right? Oh man, people dying from their onions. Stock price goes down. Well, we know McDonald's will be around past this onion crisis. Time to buy the stock, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's you look at those situations to say, well, opportunity never pops up. Opportunity is just everywhere. The question is, are we looking for opportunities? Are we in the mindset of pursuing opportunities? And that's something that as we talk about growth, growth and opportunities is so uniquely linked. I'll give you just kind of from my perspective this week. I knew I had a quick trip to Baltimore this week. It was jam packed, and so I said, okay, let me get here. I'm gonna get in, do these meetings, and I'm out of here. And so I had everything like jam tight. So there was nothing I could kind of sneak in on this or sneak in on that. And one of my clients, said, "Hey man, what are you doing tomorrow?" I'm like, I'm in meetings tomorrow. I met with you today, and I'm in meetings tomorrow and throughout the whole day. He's like, "Oh, well, I was wondering if you'd like to come and meet with, do a presentation with me, with the Baltimore Ravens." It's like, with the Baltimore Ravens? What? It's like, yeah, get a chance to meet with the players. Yeah, talk to them about wealth management and entrepreneurship. I was like, oh, did I say I was in meetings all day tomorrow? Oh my God, look, how did my schedule free up like that? What just happened? How did my schedule free up from a jam-packed, I don't have any time to do anything extra. I don't, to, oh wow. Oh yes, I will be there and we're going to restructure this thing. And why? Because opportunity said, listen, either you want to dive. I could have easily just said, man, wow, man, that sounds awesome. But I'm jam-packed, man. That's not, I hate to miss this one. I could easily and still, went home, flew back and said, I did what I was supposed to do this week. But that inner part of me of saying, man, you got to look for opportunity. You're in growth mode. You're trying to grow a business. You're trying to go from here to there. Like, you got to figure out how to make this work. So call somebody, like say, hey, what about this? And that's just the piece. It was not on my radar, but opportunities was definitely on my radar. Thinking about growth, thinking about ways to, expand the business, connect with the right types of people. Like those are things that are just constantly on my mind. And now we're in talking spiritual law. Whatever you think about, and you thinking about it on, and it's part of your day to day. It's part of your energy. That you're going to attract all that stuff into your life. It can definitely, it doesn't have to be on your radar. Like it's more so about what you're expecting to happen. It's like I was talking to Maria the other day, and I was like, our pastor who passed away earlier this year, he used to always say, Lord, how are you going to blow my mind today? Like that means he woke up with a certain level of expectation that I'm not just waking up to wake up and do the thing, the normal thing every day. He wakes up, how are you going to blow my mind today? I'm now in the realm and in the spirit for expectation for things that are not on my radar to happen. I'm here for the miraculous. That kind of shift of energy and shift of mindset. You think about that every day, it will attract and all kinds of this stuff like that. And I'm there, you know, and so on top of that, so we're there, we're having this presentation with the Ravens, like my favorite players. I'm sitting looking at these guys, you know, and I'm trying to stay professional. I'm not trying not to fanboy out, right? And there was a certain level of duty that was in my spirit. It's like, you know, yes, these are my favorite players. And I was just, you know, watching you the other day on Sunday or whatever the case. But these also are people who have never had access to the level of financial resources, their family, no one, you know, and now they have these resources right there and they have to make decisions about it. These are young men. These are people who need, they're probably not getting just a pure, fresh, objective conversation about wealth and what to do with the resources that they have. So fanboy hat off, you know, teacher, you know, professional, all those things, that's the hat you're wearing right now. And you invest into these kids' lives. That was the focus. And and it was so interesting because he one step further, one of the guys who was there, his father I went to college with his dad. And his dad also played for the Ravens. You know, back when we were in school, he was a couple years ahead of me, and he played for the Ravens. And so it was, he came up to me afterwards and was just like, "Hey man, I heard you. You know, you're talking about like, you know, Tuskegee, and my dad went to school there." I was like, "Yeah, man, I know your dad, right?" And he's like, "Man, this is good. You know, I want to make sure that we connect because, you know, yeah, everything that you're talking about is exactly what, you know, we're kind of experiencing right now." And you know, it's good to have that Tuskegee family in the room. And so that led to another conversation, reconnecting with dad and the whole nine. You know, so it's just that, again, the opportunity has to be in our spirit. Even though, you know, we're looking at our goals and what we can practically and tangibly do, you know, things that we know we can implement to develop, you know, and try to get to accomplish the goal. But it's also those things that your spirit and the role your spirit plays in accomplishing goals. And we may not think about that as much because it's like, it's not tangible, you know. And so you may say, well, what are you talking about? Your spirit. Like, how is that going to help me accomplish my goal? Being in the right mindset and protecting yourself from all of those, you know, those things that will take you off, really destroy your mindset. So part of this in having this conversation, I'm thinking about this conversation. There's another book I highly recommend, and we probably talked about this I said maybe several years ago, but it's a book called Man's Search for Meaning. Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. I highly recommend this book for anybody. Like, this is like one of the most, I mean, this book is so important for not only just for anyone who's trying to gain access to perspective, you know, about life and where we're going and where we're trying to go. Viktor Frankl his family was they're part of the Nazi camps, you know. So he went through. I mean, he had family members who were, you know, through Auschwitz. I mean, the whole experience, and he talks about it in detail. He has a chapter in here that talks about tragic optimism. When you're in just the worst of worst situations, how do you stay optimistic even in that example? You know, so I mean, you can just imagine what he was experiencing as a young boy, going through that period and still trying to tap into some form of optimism. And he highlights, when we talk about tragic optimism, highlighting the worst pain experiences that you could have, the emotions of just extreme guilt because of some of the decisions you may have had to make, even though your sibling died and didn't make those same decisions. You live, your sibling didn't live. Now you're going through extreme guilt. You know, I should have done this. I should have, all those things. And then, you know, he added the fact of death, pain, guilt, and death, tragedy that you're trying to push optimism through. And the bigger point, you know, in his book, and it's like I say, I highly recommend everyone get the book, Man's Search for Meaning, about Viktor Frankl. Is if you can find a way to still have an opportunity mindset, even in the worst examples, the mind-blowing tragic experiences, and you live to talk about it, there shouldn't be anything for the duration of your life that you won't be able to apply optimism into going forward. And it is, and so I think about that when maybe meeting with a client or connecting with a friend who's going through something, and they said, you know what, this has to be the worst situation I've ever dealt with, and this is, I'm at rock's bottom. And then you talk about Man's Search for Meaning, and you realize that what we're frustrated about, what we're worried about, is not even close to the level of tragic optimism that he's outlining in his book. You know, and so I think it is, you know, when we're trying to connect the dots on growth, on opportunity, we have to figure out how to keep our energies very fired up and optimistic and excited through the process. And we all have our own little things that know how to kick us off, you know, kick our brains off, or the distractions, or the things that, the enemy knows how to trigger you, knows how to get you. We see you onto something good. Oh, I see you. You're excited right now. I see you moving. I see you working on. So you're trying to get better, trying to get your life right. Okay, got it. How about this? Bam. You know, that kind of thing. How do you build and develop and create just a storehouse of optimism, of expectation, of in search for the opportunity, even when it gets just straight up rough and straight up difficult and you're sick and all of that. And my recommendation would be, it's almost like the doctor says, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. It's like that daily dose of information that is guiding you and leading you toward the things you're trying to accomplish, and just keeping it in your regimen, and accessing people who are like-minded, who are adding value, who are built and created and doing the things. You know, they may be doing something in a different space than you, but the journey, the strategies, their intention for accomplishment is in the same vein. Like, those are the kind of people you want in your space, you know, and to be able to share and connect, and, you know, be able to, even sometimes when you're down, you can tap into their vibration. You know, I'm kind of like, when I know I'm down, I'll shoot past a text and like, you know, Brother Morris, what's up? You know, because 9 out of 10 times his vibration is going to be up. You know, 9 out of 10 times, it's very seldom that I reach out to, you know, pass and his vibration is like, woe is me. You know, so, you know, but you got to have people, or people who, you know, you can just connect with, or say, hey, what are you doing? Or had a quick question, or whatever the case may be, just to get a little spoonful of what you need to get back, get your mindset right, get your energies right, and get back on message, So just wanted to throw that in there real quick as we're talking about growth, opportunity, and factoring in the fact that we have this stuff available, quick access. And I don't want to use the word quick, but maybe it is quick for some folks to be able to just recognize that these things are right around and start, just instead of like just kind of going through the day, slow down and take a look at everything and see something that may require something that that's another piece. I know I've shared this before, but if I'm down, I may just take a second and look at a scroll on Facebook and see someone else who's going through, and then take that moment to give a word of encouragement or a prayer specific to what's happening in that person's life. So now whatever I was down about, I'm not thinking about it anymore. I'm now centering my energies, my mind, and my spirit to address that person's situation and just go there. And it always works, at least in my experience. Anytime I'm in kind of a, kick my butt moment or just down for whatever reason, and you see someone maybe going through grief or maybe going through something, and just wash your brain of what you have going on and be intentional for that person. It gives you that escape, if you will, but more importantly, it gives you that opportunity to connect spiritually and intentional for someone else. That creates all these new energies that we need, and so just thinking through techniques and things and experiences that have worked for us is worth sharing, particularly on a personal development call. So, all right, we're a little after 8 o'clock, but let's take a second to open up the call. Anybody have any questions, comments, want to highlight where you are on your growth story, as relates to what are you doing above your day-to-day? What are you doing to advance your situation? And if you're not doing anything, let's highlight that too. Why am I not doing it? Because the conversation in and of itself is a growth activity. The fact that you said, you know what, Dees, the truth is, I'm not doing anything. Here's why I think I'm not doing anything. That is a growth activity, because you've now opened it up. And we're going to go in. You got a whole host of folks on the call who are ready to dive in on that. So let's take a second, open up the call now. Anyone would like to share and highlight where they are in their growth story? We'll open up the call now.
Hey, this is Tixana. I've been in go among the last few months, and it feels good. So I've been purposely being intentional around creativity and tapping into that creativity, that creative space. The big project that I'm working on is making me learn things that I don't know, which is like the grant making process. That world, and I'm just like, oh, this is interesting. I've had to I was instructed to like revamp my business plan, because I felt like, I talked last year, it was just like I had like 4 different things going on. So like what I'm working on this time, like getting that umbrella situation rocking and being really specific around how those 4 things or 3 things, 2 things, all the things, how they all relate and feed each other. Because it's very clear to me of how they feed each other, but it may not necessarily be clear to a grant maker.
Yeah.
So just tightening that piece of it up. And in the midst of that, some of you who follow on Facebook, I have a garden that has been bequeathed to me by my mama. And in the midst of that, trying to organize your cousins and them about community gardening, but really being clear that this one space, because I'm a consultant full time now, this one space is a space that I have full control over. And this is the one space that I'm very clear about the access and inclusion. And so this is the place that I have the most autonomy over, because it's harder to change other people's visions. This is the vision that I have in control of, right? So really making sure that as I'm creating these bridges around my company, is that I'm really making that garden space my model space, because I've already put that foundation in where it's around inclusion and access and universal design. So if this is the place where we get to show and model what it could look like for everywhere else, how do I make this the premier space to really tap into doing what I would love to see in the office buildings that I work in the schools that I work in the community activities that I go to that I can't get from point A to point B because these idiots called people have put the stage across the one pathway that connects two sides of the park. And I'm like, y'all gotta be the dumbest people in the world. Like, why would you block the one accessible space for easy access for the artist, but it creates a whole nother obstacle for 99% of the people that are here, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, helping create these, like, visual plans and processes, we talk about processes, visual processes, that help people answer questions. Is this a good place to put my stage? Does it do this, this, and this?
Yeah.
Are there multiple ways for people to get around? If there were, like, thinking about that, right? And then I could get into the training because I had a police officer tell me, you don't have no disability. You don't know me. I was like, excuse me? I said, sweetheart, let me just be real clear with you. You can't see all disabilities, right? And so he was like, and he was salty. And in that day, I had more movement that day. But I know there's days where I'm like, I might put a cute outfit on, but nigga is in pain, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, everyone don't need to know that, and I shouldn't have to give you my whole pain story for you to move this daggone barricade, dummy. You know what I mean? And then I'm coming across as an evil woman, right? Because ain't black woman always, right? So in the midst of that, what's funny is one of my childhood friends was right there, and he's a cop. He was like, "Joe, what's up?" I was like, "Hey, I'm trying to let your colleague know that you can't see all disability." And he was like, "Oh, hell yeah, boy, move this. Just move it. She's right. Like, I don't know what's going on with her, but move it."
Yeah.
It is like that's a thing. And so, like, there's so many things that we don't see, but we've been programmed against what works for people because of processes that aren't really for people, but they're couched in human services. Whole nother craziness, right? So really using my garden to do the work that I want to see in other spaces. And then with that, I was able to be available to be a part of an art project. And this art project is connecting work happening in Kenya to Pittsburgh. And I've been looking for some options to create a solar space to have an electrical outlet. And so I was like, oh yeah, well, this is what we're working on. So I started working with this project to help somebody else's garden. And then turn on, like, oh, Ty, we need another place. Can we use your garden? Yeah, there, right? So this was like, so all of a sudden I'm doing what I was, doing for service, because service is what I do. Now it's impacting me directly. I wasn't doing it for myself, but I was doing it for the bigger community. Pulled into that, now we're working on something directly in my garden. We have stuff going on. We have one solar element that's been donated. And then another organization, oh, wow, that sounds great. I'll give money. And I didn't even sign up for the money. It's just like, here. Oh, okay. So it's like allowing those things to happen when you're clear about those things. Also apply for leadership activity around disability and race. That's what my big project is on. And so it's like that being in line with learning the people in this city, because I don't know these people. I've been gone for 25 years.
Yeah.
So now I'm making these new networks in the disability community with people of color, with funders who want to fund projects for people of color. So like all of those things are in line with the work that I'm doing. So it's like making sure that when you were ready to walk in with the Ravens, because your product, your service, your delivery, all that stuff was already together. You don't have to go run home and make a PowerPoint. You can walk into it.
Yeah.
And so I'm in that space now where I'm creating. It's funny, I say I'm laying low, but every time it's like I'm doing an Instagram story about something that's happening. But it all aligns, but I'm putting together the foundational stuff so that it can happen. But I have the experience because I've been doing the work for 30 years.
Yeah.
So it's like all of it is like coming together around the garden while I'm doing other work, like paying my bills. And I'll tell people, okay, y'all, I really got to go do work for people that actually pay me so I can pay my bills. So I'll see y'all later. But the other stuff that I love and enjoy is opening up so that one day this will be the space that will feed me. And that's what I desire because it's what I love and what I believe in. Book reading, the book that was given to me as I was doing a panel discussion on co-op. I live in the oldest Black cooperative in the country. And I'm on the board because they got drama, and I'm trying to get them together because co-oping is an affordable housing alternative that has not been fully explored. So that's the other space where, all right, now I'm volunteering my life away, but I'm getting good information. I'm being connected to the right people. And I got this book called Emergent Strategy. It's the woman writes like a today version Bell Hooks, but she's talking about what emergent strategy is and how we look at things and how we plan for things or what happens. And she really does use a lot of best practice stuff, but she bases a lot of her thought and ideas around Octavia Butler and the idea of how do you create this fantasy world and what's in this fantasy world to make real choices around quality decision making, collective decision making, and clear vision, right? And then she uses some ideas, like one of hers that she talks about is like a Bruce Lee, like be the change is constant, be like water, and that's Bruce Lee, right? But just looking at what are those things, and so you're constantly thinking about how do you build. Movement change moves as fast as trust. So how do we build trust, and how do we work on focusing on critical connections versus critical movements or masses? So we focus on the connection. We'll get the movement, but our focus too often is on the outcome and not the process and the journey and the relationships that it takes to really build sustainable movement. So that's like, that book was given to me when I was doing something that I love, and I'm tapped into people that I need to be tapped into that I wasn't necessarily looking for. The art project, sitting around doing art, because we all know I love that, but I've had some of the most amazing conversations in the last 3 months as I'm doing beadwork for the art project for the garden. And so I'm making those personal and professional connections doing art for some, we're sitting down having human conversations. We're not talking about, oh, what do you do? And that was the one. I was like, oh my God, that's the dumbest question ever. But we're sitting down working, creating, and as we're working and creating, we're having the what do you do without saying those stupid words together in straight two sentences. And now we're talking about deeper connection. We're talking about people, what they've done and who they can connect you to because they see you doing the work. So I think it's too, instead of just sitting around talking about what do you do, just being in the movements of things allows you to have this authentic conversation, and people learn not only what you do, but who you really are at your core and your character. So those are the things that are like, we don't talk enough about that the people part of the work that we're doing and really creating authentic experiences for people to connect authentically. Because that's the work I've been working on. It's been amazing. In the midst of everything else crazy, I'm survey coming next week. My mom is losing like all this life is life in. Yeah. But I'm like focusing on the things that are moving me and sustaining me, because that is what God's purpose is for me. It's not to dwell on the things that happen because we get older in life and stuff. But those are always going to be there. But if we only focus on those things, we get lost and we get stuck in letting those things decide and define our experiences. So I'll stop there. Optimism and movement.
Listen, I'm sitting here I'm listening to you, and I'm just saying to myself, this is the example of creation, like somebody who's in a creative space. Because you went from one thing to the next, and everything was in a creative space. And we talk about wanting to spend time with people who've surrounded themselves with nonstop creativity and in a way that is still backed by purpose and intention, and someone who's, I would say, very guarded from being led into things that's not good for you, that's not right for you, but to, because you said a couple things that I'm sitting here like, I'm definitely doing this, so number one, you just hit the home run with the whole fact that people are like, what do you do? Like, and that is, it's such a the question in and of itself, I think, is almost like, I don't want to use the word disrespectful, but it's just like, what? Like, why you want to know that?
You're trying to figure out how you can use me. It's like, it feels feels so disingenuous.
Yeah.
There has to be a better way to ask that question.
It's like, wow, it's pretty intrusive. It's just like, wow, like you in my business right now. But to your earlier point, though, there is a way if you're meeting someone for the first time and you want a human connection, and you get right into the conversation of human, connections. It's like, and in some ways, sometimes, and I don't know how you approach this, but sometimes a good way to do it is just to start talking about what you're working on. That is a very practical thing and a thing that's really matters to you. And then before you know it, you've given them the green light, to be able to open up and communicate on things like that as well. Instead of saying, who are you and what do you do? Oh my God. It is. And I'm kind of laughing about this because even, in business development and in sales and all that, that's your world. That's part of the reason why a lot of people choose not to go into business for themselves, because they want no part of that. They want no part of, who are you? What are you doing? Why should I care? Like, that's really, just go ahead and add that other part.
Oh yeah, why should I care for it? Why should I care?
Why should I care?
I don't care. I don't care. Like,
and what's even worse? I know.
Why do you care is because you're going to get old. One day you're going to need accessibility. You're going to need to have processes and places that you can go because it needs to be accessible. And you don't want your physical environment to stop you from being able to live a life that you enjoy.
That's right.
Like, that is like, I do accessibility and inclusion because everyone needs to be able to get to the places they enjoy going without it being a burden to them and their families. Like, and because I hate those. So I have to figure out ways to say it where I'm not selling myself short.
Yeah.
And I'm not missing the opportunity that they might have for me because I didn't give them an answer they can actually use. Yeah.
And I'm glad you said it from an opportunity perspective.
Yeah.
You hit the other point around you can't always see someone's disability. That is, I feel like, in this day and time, that we're in this much more aware to even like mental health. Like, growing up, it wasn't something like we didn't really talk about it unless it was really bad. And so that person crazy,
unless it was really bad.
Yeah. So it's really bad. It's like, oh yeah, he gets a check, right? He gets a crazy check or whatever the case. But now, man, it's like you could literally be standing next to someone right now and who is on the verge of everything. Like, I'm one word away from completely destroying your and my life. Like, so I feel like we're much more aware of that now, but some people aren't, right? And so I'm glad you said that because I guarantee you that's the first time that person's ever heard it. That you can't always see someone's disability. So don't assume that I'm good. I think awareness on that in and of itself is the most important piece. How do you become more, create that type of conversation more often? So and especially in the workplace and environments where you're dealing with people all the time, because that is a very true statement, and it's one worth trying to fight through. How do you actually, because the thing is, if you assume that everything is good and people also live in that facade, it's like a ticking time bomb. It's about to happen, you just don't know it. It's about to blow. So yeah, I was sitting there listening to you. I said that this, you can tell this woman is purely educated on every topic here, and it's just jewels dropping from one to the next. It's so much I want to unpack with you on that, because even you talked about that community garden, and that in of itself is creativity and plugging other folks. I was thinking about what they're doing over in West Baltimore and in Whitelock. They got a community garden, and I was like, "What?" Like, this is crazy, but you don't hear about it. So I love it. I love it. I love it. This is, when you, especially when you're trying to highlight the fact of, well, this is my growth story right now. This is where I'm headed, but get ready for the whirlwind, because it's a combination, especially for people like you who got consultancy going on, you got your full-time, you got your boards, you got family, and the mind is constantly working on how to solve problems, how to address issues, and which comes with its own creativity. But I guess at the same time, the question always becomes, as we know we have to have a certain type of mindset for all of these various things. How do we prioritize growth and development in our daily flow? What are we doing to prioritize it, to make it just as important? And growth and being able to clearly say what growth and development means to you, not just per job or per issue, but from a personal perspective. And so and usually when that happens, sometimes some reprioritizing happens where you say, okay, you know what, you're right. I do need, if I'm putting me first, then some of this is actually, it needs to be restructured, because this is pulling from me, and I'm not sure if I'm gaining from the experience as much as I'm giving, and so that's something we do have to provide as some type of self-evaluation to say, I see how much, and this is when it comes to, like, in my case, where we have to, fire clients, if you will, because you're giving more than you're gaining, whether it be, like, for instance, I have some clients that I don't really make a lot of money on, but I gain in the practice, because the experiences that we're doing, the strategies that it requires, some of the situations are just crazy, but it just so happened that engagement may not be profitable, but it's adding to my growth and development. Almost sometimes it's one client can be worth an MBA's worth of information, and experiences. Whereas others they could very well be profitable, but it's just such a drag on on the business, on your time, your resources, your mindset, your energy. And I'm like, I'm fast to say, listen, this is the energy that you're producing. It's not helpful to you, and it's not helpful to me. And I'm going to outline some strategies that I think you should try to execute, but I'm out. I can't be a part of this with you, because, I'm trying to slow down my gray hair. So, that's just what it is. And you got to be okay with that, because when you're doing good work and you believe in what you're building, that next client will come and show up, and you'll be all good. And it's not anything to worry about, anything to be frustrated about. It's not something to, oh my God, I can't get rid of that client. I can't get rid of that relationship. If you're focused and you're committed to the purpose-driven work, that the resources will come, the people will come, the right types of folks you want to work with, they will come, just so you can clean up your house and make sure you have the right type of people to build and develop. I'm happy just having 30 clients to 25 clients who I can go deep with, build really good, sustainable, business relationships, versus having just the scattering of a whole thousands of clients and you're pulled. You don't have the time to do anything. It's just pulling you one from here to there. So we have to decide in this life, what do we want, and pursue that. Versus having society and life tell you what you're about to do. This is what you're about to do, because if you don't do it this way, you ain't gonna pay your bills, or whatever the case may be. And that, I don't subscribe to that. It's like, what do you want in this life and why? And let's pursue that, and let's make that the main thing, and everything else will line up around it. So I love it. I love it when Dr. Jones come on and drop jewels on us. So anybody else? I know we're getting close to 9:00, but I'm just really, enjoying the fact that we're able to kind of weave in the topic of growth and having a growth mindset into what we're working on and our activities for the past, this month or since our last call. So we'll take a second and open up the call now. Anybody else who wants to jump in and share what's been going on over the past month and their growth story, we'll open up the call now.
Good morning, everybody.
Dr. Dana.
I just want to say, yes, I am just so thrilled at just hearing of how much you've grown since we started this thing way back in the day.
Way back.
So I'm excited for you. Like, I'm so godly excited for you. These last 2 months I've been on the go, and I'm in Central Time Zone right now. So of course my phone goes off an hour late.
Oh.
I don't want to call way late, but it still was really good information. But just over the last month, I've been just kind of a student. I have, so the guy you linked me up with, Frank.
Yes.
Last name Frank. We just been talking. Like, here's my heart, pour it out. I never let people in, but here, I'm tired of, carrying all of this. So he and I are strategizing on a lot of things, and just coming up with the way back to the right path, right? Because I just kind of got excited, started buying all this stuff, whatever. So long story short, this last month has been about reeling it in and just applying discipline, like getting back to that same hustle, that same passion, and better of when we first started this thing. And how it circles back to you, because this whole restart button is based on somebody you put me onto. So I'm like, here it is again. This guy is still dropping seeds, it's still growing stuff. So it matters who your friends are. Yeah. It totally matters who your friends are. And you can't get mad when your friends, when it's their time. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm so excited because I'm be blessed just by association. As far as your growth, as far as my growth, same thing. And it's so great to hear all the people on the line and just the things. And I'm gonna get on Dwayne because he already know why. But long story short, that's been my thing. Just recentering. And sometimes you just gotta recenter, and that's where I am. I got some business opportunities on the table, multiple business opportunities on the table, and it's like I just want to everything. I'm doing everything by the book first. All the research, all the whatever. A couple of med spas are coming up, and I have an opportunity to get in with med spas.
What's that?
And so I'm just trying to figure med spas.
What is that?
A spa. So all these ladies with the lip fillers, the Botoxes, a little bit of pain management,
Yeah.
But also, good for you. Like, my cousin has a bunch of IV clinics, so even that will be incorporated.
Okay.
In it, like just getting people back. Health, it's all health based.
Okay. Okay.
So that is, that's on the horizon, but I'm taking my time, but not really.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've seen them open their first one, open the second one, and they, guys, the guy who owns it, owner is a dentist too.
Okay.
And so he's like, Truesdale, you got to jump on this, you got to do this while it's fresh because we're planning this, and this. So I'm like, let me just give me a minute and we'll see what we can do. So that's what I'm in prayer about right now. Still doing the emergency dental clinic.
Yep.
But I just realized that I need to be away from the office.
Okay.
To accomplish what I need. So my ultimate goal, well not ultimate, but my goal short term, medium term, is more days with the associates being in the office and me doing other stuff.
There we go.
Because I'm getting older and the time it takes me to heal is about the same time it takes the patient to heal after I do an extraction. Like
yeah.
This is manual labor. That's hard.
Yeah.
And then while I still absolutely love what I do, I like the learning piece more. So I signed up with Goldman and Sachs, applied anyway. So also I need to get with you on, the best classes and courses to take on this business thing. I did not do it. Did not follow because you had a PTA thing happening. But said all of that to say, I'm in recenter, reset mode, how to do more hands-off dentistry. While I love my people and while they're very comfortable with me and while growing the brand, there's still more for me to do.
Listen.
Yeah, and that's what I've been doing last month or so.
I love it. I mean, the thing is, and we have this conversation a lot in terms of the stages, especially in terms of business ownership, but not just business ownership, the stages of professionalism. So when we think about, we study, go to college, learn something, and then we leave that and we get into the field. And let's just say, from 25 to 45, right? You're just kind of in the profession. You're in the practice. You're learning. You're gaining all these experiences and becoming, an expert in your field and that kind of thing in this specific area. And then you hit like 45, and it's like, okay, this is scale time, and to scale and grow means I need to be able to communicate and educate what I've learned over the past 20 years to other people so they can do it. And if they're doing it, and depending on how many people I train and educate, that identifies my scale potential, and so you take from 45 to 65, just using those 20-year gaps as the time to do it. And then folks from like 65 to 85, they're just, that's what they call retirement, if you will, but some people say, well, hey, I like those numbers, right? But I want to, kind of push that in a bit, right? How about I just do this in 10-year gaps or whatever the case? And the older we get, the more important it is for us to focus on growth, and growth for the purpose of, just like that book that I talk about a lot, which is the cash flow quadrant. And that gives you those different quadrants of how you think about earning income. You start in that employee quadrant, move to the self-employed quadrant, go to the business quadrant, sell the business and become an investor. And the beauty of the investor quadrant is that you're still in the thing that you know and understand. You're still in it. You're not just like because it's important to highlight that, because there are a lot of people, especially people who enjoy the S quadrant, who enjoy being self-employed, because the work that they do is almost passion, if you will. It's like, I love this. I love doing this. But to really grow and to grow from being a self-employed person to a business owner is being in a position to actually train, teach, and create processes and things that are duplicatable, and put you in a really good position to say, you know what, I think I'd like to take a month off and just go do some other stuff. I want to get educated. I want to, spend my time doing something else and not worry that my company is going to fail while I'm away. Like, that's kind of the definition of, do you have a self-sustaining business that can move, can operate, and dare I say even grow while you are off doing something else that your spirit requires, And so to having conversations with business owners about the transition from the business quadrant to the investor quadrant is really it's such an important conversation, because a lot of times business owners see their businesses as not only their job, but their baby, their child. I started this business 20 years ago, and look at it now, and with a pride, right? Which means they don't want to sell it. And the only way we can truly get to pure generational wealth is to have some type of liquidity event. Something that's a windfall of cash that's coming to fund your generational goals, to be able to last for multiple generations. Other than that, you have what people can say are riches, or enough money to do the things that you want to do in this life. So for folks who don't have a generational wealth goal, then cool. You made a lot of money and you're spending it right now, kind of thing, doing the things that matter to you. But usually you have these conversations and folks got their families and they got the charities that they love, all these things. They want to make sure they're sustainable for a long time. All right, we need a liquidity event. Like, we need something that's going to really take this to the next level. But when you move to that I quadrant, which you are, you're closer to it than you think. The question then becomes, so what am I doing with my time now? Well, the great part about being an investor is you invest in things that you know and understand. And you invest in other businesses like yours, like the one you just sold or the one you built, and you help them. And you can even practice in it when you want to, just being in a position to keep that level of creativity as a practitioner, plus the strategies around supporting growing businesses in the way that in those areas that you understand. And so it's clear, though, that you are making a transition, and looking at your revenue streams and the types of businesses you should be in, and lending the expertise that you have. It's about to really get interesting, because you're pumping that energy out, and so everything is going to start coming your way that lines up with that energy that you're pumping out. And so, it's also interesting. So going back to mentioning working with Alex, this is probably a very good segue, as we're 5 minutes away from 9 o'clock. If you go to the Dream Makers Network website right now, it's completely new objective. I shouldn't say completely new objective, but the focus of working and becoming a professional services company that is backed by personal development is what we do. And the exact situation that Dr. Dana just outlined to be able to build a team in specific professional services. What do business owners need to run and grow and potentially sell their businesses one day, and to make that process lined up with their true purpose for living, their passions, their goals, to be able to infuse all the strategies and structures of personal development that we talk about into the life of a business owner and take them through that process. And so, we've highlighted now, you'll see we're building our team. You'll see some familiar faces on the team, some new faces as we are bringing in a full-time tax and accounting, bookkeeping services team. We now into real estate advisory services, with the experts on the team. You'll see a fresh face as our director of our operations, who's on the team. Lots of really, really cool things are happening now, but the kickoff in January with kind of an effective relaunch of the Dream Makers and our Engaged Wealth Financial Service Company. It's just beyond a blessing. I can't even articulate how much of a blessing it has been. And even when you think about it, we left Maryland with a lot of, I would say, uncertainty, and not even, it's because the markets were uncertain. We were in a pandemic. It was lots of uncertainty, and even inflated costs. And so, cost of living has been much more here than it was when we're in Maryland, which was not. I didn't think that was going to be the case, but pursuing passions and purpose for living is bigger than all of that stuff. Like all of the things that seemed that will say, whoa, you shouldn't do that. If prioritizing purpose-driven living is your goal, and not being distracted by things that will get you off message, that has to be bigger than any of the objections or any of the things that might be seen as a concern or fearful. And that's been the case. And it is, I couldn't be more excited about where the Dream Makers Network is going, the type of impact, from a practice perspective and working with business owners and employees, but at the same time, the philanthropic side, how that has really increased, and the types of impact. I was listening to Tysana talk, and much of what she was saying, it reminds me of my day, and, it's like when I look at my calendar, it's a combination of the things that I really want to spend my time doing, but it switches, from working with business owners and their employees to working with charitable organizations and the school system and all these things that I've found some passions for, and now just making that a part of the day-to-day and infusing it into the business, which forces it to have to be a part of the day-to-day. But what it does do is helps us, and we can say these types of things with this call, because we're focused on personal development. It is a commitment to personal development. It is deciding, making a decision that I'm just going to wrap my life, business and family and activities and community and wrap it all into personal development and brand it that way, and not feel weird about it, and not feel, whoa, be ready for any questions or concerns, or even, why this or why that? Like, no one else is doing that. Well, that's great for them. But what we're doing is adding value to our target market, and knowing that you're going to add value to the target market, and being ready for that market to expand, because this is purpose-driven work, and so yeah, man, it's definitely exciting times. And I'm just this network is purely the cause and crux of it, right? Because we've had that consistency of working on these goals over and over and over again, staying connected, sharing, not being afraid, talking through the good, bad, and ugly, and still staying consistent. And that is truly by far the purpose of all of this, is to stay on message, to connect with each other, and when we can help. If we can, just really be intentional about that, because if we can prioritize somebody else's growth and development, we're in line. It's going, if it's happening to them, it's going to happen to us too, right? So it's no need to like Dr. Dana said, to be more so to just be excited about your colleagues and your friends' successes, to be their biggest cheerleader, because you next. That's just the way it works. Those are the laws that came with the universe. So just let it happen. So, and with that, anybody else have any questions, comments, want to jump in and share? We'll open up the call now. Uh-oh. There it is, Brother Morris.
No, y'all been riding this thing out, man. Y'all been riding it out. I got two quick things, and we out.
Okay.
Although I love, a 937, a strong 937. 906, well, not 906, my car time is fast. 901.
901.
Excuse me. I think that ultra mega super fantastic, all the superlatives, grateful for you, and then everyone else that's been in the network and asked to share today, because the jewels were so many jewels in there, so many, and you went through. That's why I'm grateful for you, because nobody has to. I don't have to chime in or think, because you're going to highlight areas that I'm like, thank you. That was a great highlight. So I can just enjoy better than a binge watching The Penguin is this call right here. But I will tell you one thing that about the call that I'm grateful for, but also it will get you. Look, you can mess around for the first Cupid on the 14th or whatever, the middle of the month, and be deep into some foolishness. I mean, deep into it. And then when you give them a call on Saturday, you be like, yo, man, let me just readjust my stuff, man, because this is ridiculous. Because you get, and that's the beauty of the call. 2 weeks ago, you could just be, okay, I gotta change this whole thing up. I'm ready to quit. I'm ready to do whatever. This is the move right here. Yeah, I'm about to pull this off.
Yeah.
No, you get on the call and you hear just the energy, not even the stories, because none of us are doing the same exact thing, but we're applying principles to certain things, and that concept of personal development is so key. And it sometimes it just boosts you and keeps you moving. Sometimes it makes you think, and then sometimes it will just make you all right, I'm gonna scratch that. Let me just text somebody right now. Like, I'm out. I'm out. I'm not doing it.
No.
I'm not doing it. Man, I thought you know. I'm not doing that. I'm sorry, I'm out. I'm not doing that. That is not in line with my purpose, my direction, and it doesn't even sit right with my spirit.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
I'm extra grateful. And that happens to me a lot. So, the opportunities. So I am super grateful for everything that y'all said on the call. And I didn't know that if you when we talked about the growth mindset, I just wanted to drop the consummate book on the growth mindset, which is it's called The Growth Mindset, and it's by a lady by the name of Carol Dweck, D-W-E-K, Carol Dweck. It is the book on the growth mindset. Okay. It's the consummate book. It's heavy. I mean, it's level action.
Got it.
But when I read it and listened, well, you want to listen to it, but I wound up buying it. You know how that is. You listen to a good one, and then you like, oh, I think that.
Yeah, this goes on the shelf.
But it. I mean, it says the way. I'm surprised I guess we didn't talk about it because you sound surprised. But it changed my interaction with my children. Like, okay, I see.
Wow.
So this is that. I mean, it's got all of the details on the growth mindset versus what is called the fixed mindset, which is what you put in the meme. Thing for the text.
I did. I will say, full disclosure, I just like randomly found that, so I have not read that book.
Okay. So when you get into that growth versus the fixed mindset, you will be very surprised on the skies is that fixed mindset lives in.
So let me ask you this real quick, because
what we think.
I see the book from Carol Dweck. It's called Mindset: The New Psychology of Success. But there is another book called The Growth Mindset, but it's a different author. It's called by Ella Greenfield. So,
no, it's Dweck. It's Dweck. Whichever one is Dweck.
Okay. All right, cool. All right.
She might have another.
No, you're right. I see. No, you're right. I see it. There's a growth mindset workbook by Carol Dweck. I see it. Okay. All right. I got it.
Dweck's the one. Yeah, Dweck's the one. And go to the first original, because it has been so popular that you know how it is. They readjust it. They bringing out this, bringing out that. I'm sure there's like my answer to the growth. Now go to whatever the original growth mindset book was.
Okay.
That's the one you want to work with. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting this right now, brother, as we speak.
So, it gives a lot of that stuff that we think that seems to be good is a fixed mindset, and it stagnates you. And stagnate, it gets you to a certain level. But having a pure growth mindset, and what you're talking about today and what everybody's been taught is fantastic. So, yeah, thank you. And I know we know it's short time, but I appreciate y'all on that. That was all I wanted to add. I mean, I could go through another 45 to an hour. Things that have happened. We all have things that have happened, but I just appreciate y'all, man. Thank you for the reset.
Yeah.
All of y'all, thank you for the reset. I'm about to get off the phone and begin to text message immediately.
No, the answer is no.
The answer is no. Can't do it. I'm out.
Hey, well, listen. I'm glad that you, because this I just shared out the mindset by Carol Dweck to everybody, Dr. Carol Dweck. Listen, it's going to be required reading. I think we should do, because I think we should just end the year with growth. Just focus on growth and go in next month as well. So I would say let's all just dive in this book, and then be able to kind of talk through it in some detail next month for our next call. Because this is, I think it's awesome to be able to end the year with growth, which means that you start the year with growth. With that, you started a brand new year already on the right trajectory. So it's why not just go in strong on growth, and then the full next year can just be all about scale and realization. And so this is a good way to go. So I'm looking forward to diving into this book, man. Appreciate you. Connecting us on that one. And it's great because, again, like I said, this is the universe, right? Because I was just looking for some images that could reflect growth, the growth mindset, and that popped up. And it just so happened to be the same book we're about to dive into. So that's just the universe doing what it does. So, all right. That's it. So everybody have an awesome week. Go to the website again. Go to dreammakersnetwork.org. lock in some time, man. Like, if we want to just catch up on what's going on, just one-on-one, let's do it. Because I'll tell you the truth, man. It's some special stuff happening right now. There's some really cool, y'all know me. I'm never the one to be out bragging about stuff and, I got this and all that. That's not how I move. But for the folks on this call, we need to set some one-on-ones up, because there are some opportunities, and there's just the network is expanding. Let me say it that way. And the resources are expanding, and a lot of good is being done, helping a lot of people who are trying to, create their dreams. I mean, this name Dream Makers, it started as just kind of like an opportunity to change the mindset for someone and to help them never give up, that there's still an opportunity to create your dreams. And it's, over the past I guess 20 years at this point, it's in so many specific ways. I've chosen to focus on from a business perspective, but it definitely still affects the personal. So folks are able to go inward and tap into their true passions and their purpose for this life, and then apply it to their business, apply it to how they feed their families. That is important. And to even have a conversation around generational wealth like this, it's like sounds nice, oh yeah, I definitely want that. But to actually then be in a situation where folks are creating it, folks are selling businesses for millions of dollars and able to just recreate themselves, and say, wow, like this is how I'm going to spend the rest of my life. And I'm still working age. We're talking people in their 40s and 50s. Like, we're not even talking retirement age yet, and it's happening. It's real. So, let's stay real tight. This is the blessings are flowing. And I think it's just, and all of us it's really getting ready to go to another level, which is back to what I was saying before. There are some things that when we talk about dreams, that our dreams are only limited to what we know and understand. And then you can have one conversation with someone and they open up a new dimension in your mindset. Like, what? That's a thing? That's possible? You know what I'm saying? Like, we have our thoughts on, oh man, if I could just do this and see that and this. And that's what our brain and our experiences, have given us access to. Then you have that conversation, or you meet that person who's just created another pocket in your mind and say, how about you go there for a little bit and see how that feels? So, that's what's possible, to go beyond the dreams that we currently know and understand, and it creates a new dimension, and so with that, let's dive into this book, see what it's all about, and we'll see you on the next call. Have a great week, have a great month. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and we'll see you in a few weeks.